The movie follows Casey Bowman, a martial artist training at a Japanese dojo under Takeda Sensei. Through his dedication and perseverance, Casey earns the respect of both his master and his daughter, Namiko. As he trains alongside Namiko, a strong bond develops between them, which Takeda Sensei notices. He warns them to set aside their emotions and remain focused on their training, emphasizing the importance of staying calm and clear-headed in battle. That evening, Takeda Sensei reveals the Yoroi Bitsu, an ancient ninja suit and weapon passed down through generations. Historically, ninjas were mercenaries used for espionage, sabotage, and assassination, contrasting with the honorable samurai. Takeda Sensei explains that the next worthy successor will inherit the Yoroi Bitsu. He gathers his students and declares Casey and Masazuka as the dojo's top fighters. However, only one can prove worthy of inheriting the Yoroi Bitsu. Masazuka, believing himself superior to Casey, resents being compared to him. His jealousy intensifies due to Casey's close relationship with Namiko. Casey, who was abandoned as a baby and raised in the dojo, becomes one of Takeda Sensei's finest students. Tensions rise as Casey and Masazuka continue to train, with Casey often pushing himself harder than the others. Eventually, they face off in a match to determine the rightful heir to the Yoroi Bitsu. Masazuka attempts to manipulate Casey by taunting him about his past. During their fight, Masazuka fights with uncontrolled rage, disregarding Takeda Sensei's warnings. In a near-fatal attack, Masazuka tries to kill Casey, but Casey successfully defends himself, leaving Masazuka with a scar beneath his eye. Due to his reckless actions, Masazuka is expelled from the dojo. Filled with anger and humiliation, he vows to take revenge on the dojo and its members. Years later, in New York, the secret organization The Ring holds a ceremony at the Temple Industries plant to initiate new members, who receive the group's symbol on their chests. Meanwhile, in Russia, two top business leaders find themselves in conflict with The Ring and face execution by Masazuka, a deadly ninja working for the organization. He swiftly eliminates the Russians involved in a deal. At the Koga Dojo in Japan, Takeda Sensei gathers his students to present the Yoroi Bitsu, a treasure he has safeguarded for 30 years as Grandmaster. He intends to pass it on to the next generation when Masazuka arrives, claiming the right to be the next Soke. However, Takeda Sensei rejects his claim, prompting Masazuka to threaten the dojo. Sensing danger, Takeda Sensei entrusts Casey and Namiko with protecting the Yoroi Bitsu, believing Casey's pure heart makes him the best guardian for both the treasure and Namiko. Casey and Namiko successfully transport the Yoroi Bitsu to New York, hiding it in Triborough University's vault with the help of Professor Garrison, a close friend of Takeda Sensei. Meanwhile, Masazuka prepares for an attack. Back in Japan, he storms the dojo at night, killing all the students before confronting Takeda Sensei. Unaware that the Yoroi Bitsu is now in New York, Masazuka tries to take it, only to find an empty box. Unable to defeat his master honorably, he resorts to poison. As Takeda Sensei dies, he expresses regret for ever accepting Masazuka into the dojo. Namiko attempts to contact her father but gets no response. Masazuka, upon seeing Professor Garrison's name on Takeda Sensei's phone, realizes the treasure is in New York and orders the Ring to locate Garrison. Meanwhile, in New York, Casey visits his mother's old friend but learns she passed away months earlier. When he returns to Garrison's home, Masazuka's assassins attack, killing Garrison and his family. Casey and Namiko barely escape and seek refuge in an inn. Later, they are shocked to see a news report falsely identifying them as the murderers of Garrison and his family. Namiko suggests turning to the police, but Casey warns that they would only end up arrested, leaving the Yoroi Bitsu vulnerable. The next morning, Casey notices the cafe owner acting strangely and soon realizes they are being watched. Masazuka's men attack again, but Casey and Namiko fight them off and flee into the subway, where they engage in another battle. Despite being outnumbered, they defeat the assassins, but as soon as they exit the train, the police ambush and arrest them. While being interrogated, their story about Masazuka seems unbelievable to the officers. Meanwhile, Masazuka learns they are in police custody and, furious over the failure to retrieve the Yoroi Bitsu, kills one of his own men. That night, he infiltrates the station disguised as Nameko's lawyer. Cutting off the electricity, he slaughters several officers with his katana. Nameko is taken outside by police but is knocked unconscious after her escorts are killed. Casey, tied to a table, breaks free, only to be confronted by officers. Amid the chaos, he saves a policeman from Masazuka's gunfire, and in return, the officer lets him go. Masazuka, holding Nameko captive, demands to know the location of the Yoroi Bitsu. He admits to killing her father and the dojo members, believing they betrayed him. Meanwhile, Casey tracks down a lead to Temple Industries, where he fights and captures the company's leader. Extracting Masazuka's phone number, he calls to arrange a trade, Nameko's life in exchange for the Yoroi Bitsu. Casey retrieves the treasure from the university, dons a ninja suit, and prepares for battle. At the same time, Mr. Call, the ring's leader, orders Casey and Masazuka to be eliminated. At the designated meeting site, Casey demands Nameko's release while lowering the Yoroi Bitsu chest. Masazuka, discovering it empty, becomes enraged. Casey, now wearing the Yoroi Bitsu, confronts him. Before they can fight, the ring's forces ambush them. Masazuka, Casey, and Nameko join forces to defeat the assassins, with Nameko demonstrating her exceptional archery skills. Once the battle ends, Casey and Masazuka engage in a fierce duel. Masazuka shoots a poison dart at Nameko and taunts Casey with the antidote. During their fight, the antidote is accidentally dropped, further enraging Casey. As a police helicopter illuminates the battlefield, Masazuka blinds Casey using his katana's reflection and attempts to escape. However, Casey remembers his master's teachings. Closing his eyes, he relies on his other senses to land a fatal blow on Masazuka. Rushing to Nameko's side, Casey despairs upon realizing the antidote is gone. Then, recalling that a ninja katana has the power to both kill and heal, he discovers the antidote hidden in Masazuka's sword hilt and saves Nameko.